The new moon on April 22nd is by far the most powerful and activating new moon of the year. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about the new moon we have here on April 22nd, 2020. It's an extremely activating new moon. Number 1, this is a very, very spiritually activating time. Imagine it's kind of like this. My friend Savannah, she makes these orgonite pyramids, and she recommends to go put them in the sun to charge. The light energy from the sun will charge, like amplify this particular pyramid almost like a battery. And when it's been charged in the sun, it glows in the dark. That's kind of what's happening in a sense to us. There's new light energy penetrating into the planet and into us, into our consciousness at a rate that we are not used to. The purpose of the light, the purpose of the energy is to make us glow, is to illuminate us, to clear away the darkness and allow the light that we naturally are to shine through. The joy, the love, the compassion. That's the light in us trying to come through. Now, because we're still adjusting to the progressively more, like the progressive rate at which this light is coming, meaning it's coming like more and more and more and more and more. It's getting potent faster and faster than we've been used to over the past several years. And we're going through a very powerful time right now in particular where a lot of this light energy is coming at us. And this amazing thing is helping us glow, right? Beautiful. But there are side effects to this, and they can vary greatly among the individual. So some of you might be feeling it physically, might be feeling kind of older and like achier and worn down, low energy. Some of you might not be sleeping very well. Some of you might be sleeping all the time. Some of you might be having very unusual sort of spiritual phenomena happen. Maybe you're going to bed at night and you close your eyes and you're having like the closed eye visuals. You're feeling presences and energy in the room. Okay? For me, the way it's manifesting is I'm having ridiculously clear dreams that seem to have messages. I usually dream pretty clear. I have these dorky blue blocker glasses that some of you saw in my last live video. I wear those before bed, so my dreams are pretty clear. But I had one the other day in particular that involved me sitting in my parents' driveway, which happened to also be simultaneously some kind of lake or ocean, really. And this huge whale just popped out of the water and like made itself known to me. And even in the dream, I was like taken aback, like, wow, it felt so powerful. It's a powerful force of energy, this big whale. And then I noticed as the whale went back into the ocean, there was to my right a dolphin, and the dolphin was kind of washed up on the shore. And I knew the dolphin. It was like a friend or something, and I loved the dolphin. In the dream, I recall distinctly the crazy amount of love I felt, just natural love for this dolphin, as if it was like my own child or my own spouse or something. And I woke up thinking about the dolphin and the whale and the love. So you just might be having things like this happen to you that aren't normal. Some of you might be feeling the kundalini energy, the shakti within you active. You might feel like you're buzzing a little bit. The chakras are spinning, the tingling, the energy, and everything in between. Some of you might not be feeling any of this and having a lot of like dark night of the soul symptoms, a lot of emotional purging. It doesn't matter what's happening. The light is coming in and it's divine in nature, and it's doing exactly what's best for you at this time. So, but just be aware if you're feeling a bit off kilter, you're feeling like you're buzzing around or having unusual experiences, that's okay. That's your body, your system, your mind, your consciousness adjusting to the new extremely positive and beautiful and liberating light energy now just being blasted into the planet. Number 2, I wrote down new openings, new psychic connections being made if you create them, which in this circumstance for a lot of us is not easy. What I mean is due to this increased light energy, in a sense, your consciousness is more expanded than it ever has been. And you have now this new ability to tap into your higher self, your spirit guide, just the divine wisdom that you are part of more and more easily than ever. And you might find yourself having these really great ideas that are more germane. They're like representative of your new frequency, of the new you that may have just been transformed into maybe last month. You're like this new person on this new timeline, this new life. And you have these new ideas about your future that are exciting and they feel fitting and they might be very, very new. Now, some of you might be caught off guard because you're not having this. And this is okay too, because we're in a unique circumstance where we're just in a very unnatural situation. We're kind of like weary of other people, trapped in our homes, afraid to leave the house. And I'm not saying none of it's warranted, but regardless, we're in this sort of weird circumstance where we're just kind of locked up in these boxes that a lot of us are probably really fed up with. And you might find that you're feeling like just restless. And I know for me, I've been finding myself going back into going on the computer too much for no reason, and then feeling the energy drain it has on my system. But because I feel disoriented from that, I do more of it because it's kind of a way of escaping for me. And so when I get into these cycles, which feel harder for me to resist and avoid at this point because of the circumstance, then I am cut off. That I'm not having any psychic openings happening. But when I do things and take time out of my day, I've been going out in my backyard every day and working out, or going for a light jog or a walk outside with no headphones. When I do things like that, it's a very big contrast, like night and day. I can be in my head feeling kind of like just disconnected, or I can feel very tapped in to this new, it's hard to explain. The best way I would explain it, which will sound weird, it feels as if a lot of us have shifted timelines. And we're now in this new and better timeline. And we're grounding into it now. And this new timeline is offering us a totally just new perspective on our life, this new vantage, this new way of looking at ourselves and our lives. And there can be new ideas, new passions that spring forth within you that may seem to be surprising. For example, for me, what I plan to do, a new thing for me that just really, again, so surprising to me, is in the near future, I plan to open up a spiritual center, open up a brick and mortar building where I'll be running my QHHT sessions and doing guided meditations and having healing circles and that kind of thing. And I used to own a gym, I used to own a brick and mortar, and I said I would never do that again. I didn't like feeling tied to it. But for whatever reason, I'm at a place in my life where it seems very fitting, and this idea came out of left field. So my point is, if you can make the decision to take time out of this energy, this circumstance, you might find that you're dropping into this new place where you have all these amazing ideas just bursting through your mind about your future that are exciting, that resonate, and that you just know are deeply representative of the new level of truth, the new you that you are now. Number 3, I wrote down revisiting the Hermit Phase and time to level up. Most of you probably can't make any sense of that sentence. I'll explain briefly, starting with the first part. Revisiting the Hermit Phase. The Hermit Phase is just a name I labeled to a particular phase of this ascension process we're going through. During the Hermit Phase, whether we do so willingly or oftentimes more commonly, life puts us in a scenario where we aren't really working, we're not really spending that much time socializing, and we're basically, in a sense, stuck inside of ourselves, where there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to distract ourselves, there's not a lot of stuff to do, and we find ourselves just alone with ourselves, which can be very uncomfortable emotionally. It's a time for a lot of healing and cleansing, but also there's another component of it which you might relate with. There is oftentimes a genuine yearning to know more about anything that involves spirituality or metaphysics or waking up. Okay? Now, some of you might be studying books like, let's see. I don't have a good example right in front of me, actually. Some of you might be studying stuff like this, like the raw material, like going deep with the raw material, or Dolores Cannon, stuff like that really helps you understand that there's so much more that exists that, in a sense, is somewhat relevant to us in our reality than we've been taught in school. And there's a time that you find this information just either being very attractive to you or literally just falling into your lap just like that. And you find yourself reading this stuff that, 5 years ago you would have said, this is absolutely nonsense, but I don't know why. It just feels appropriate to read it. I feel good. Something in me, I don't know why, believes in it. And boy, it just resonates so much. And you might find yourself doing that. You also might find that this is taking a different turn in more of like the negative spectrum. You might find yourself, some of you might find that you're diving deeper down the rabbit hole once again, even though you may have done that in the past, like reading into, there's a lot of stuff coming to light right now about some of those who are in a sense in charge and have an influence in the world that don't always have our best interests at heart. There's a lot of awareness about that right now. And there might be different materials that you just feel like checking into. It's all appropriate. The common thread to always know you're on track is just to do what feels natural. But a lot of times is what trips us up is what feels natural sometimes doesn't make sense to us. It seems out of character. It seems unusual. Well, why am I doing this? For example, for me, recently I just watched this documentary called, I think, Out of the Shadows or something. A lot of you probably have heard of it. It's not one I'm not recommending it. It's definitely a darker documentary revealing certain aspects, but I don't even usually talk about on my channel. But for whatever reason, I wanted to watch it, and it just seemed appropriate to kind of have maybe a heightened awareness of that. Now that was enough for me. I was like, okay, that's enough, bro. You gotta save yourself after that kind of material. But my point is, let your interests sort of guide you in this situation, and know that when you're in the hermit phase of awakening, it's okay. I know a lot of you are saying, I'm not working, Vic. I got bills piling up. I understand, and I know how that can make us feel. I've been through it. Trust me. I was in tons of credit card debt. I know exactly how you feel, but I also know this. I've learned this. It's all perfect. It sounds like such a nifty thing to say to any situation, Vic. It is. Where you're standing in this exact moment watching this video is perfect. You're exactly where you need to be. It doesn't matter what's happening with you. And all you have to do in these situations is literally just relax and follow your intuition. If we can get out of our heads and not to do too much what Tony Robbins calls stacking. Sometimes when we're in a precarious situation in life, we stack. I don't have enough money for the bills. My kids are they're driving me crazy. I got a flat tire. I don't know what's going to happen with my friend. And we work ourselves up into a frenzy. We drastically plummet our vibration. We cut ourselves off willingly from guidance, from help, from source, from our own inner wisdom. And then we just spiral around in madness for no reason. Because once we finally relax and calm down, our frequency goes, ooh, it goes back up. And suddenly we're thinking about the situation in a very drastically different way and saying, man, for one, I'm good now. I'm safe now. I got clothes, got a shirt on my back. It's not raining on me. I'm in a house. I'm okay. And you know what? I feel more optimistic. I know things have a way of working themselves out. I've experienced that in the past. And you start getting in this sort of line of thinking, and all of a sudden, wow, these ideas of what you can do about your situation start popping into your mind. And you'll know they're good because they resonate with you. So as long as you can do your best to stay afloat in your higher awareness, which again just requires not freaking out unnecessarily, which it's okay to do once in a while, you'll find that this situation is going to kind of have a purpose. You're going to learn some things, release some things, and it's going to lead you to a new level of life. And it's going to be a massive upgrade for you. It always is. And lastly, another facet of this, which I kind of forgot about until reading this, is leveling up. So in addition to this hermit phase, a lot of you might find that it's an appropriate time to level up. What does that mean? It means to just grow, to learn more, to become more, to sharpen your skills, sharpen your axe. Dig into a healthy morning routine that keeps you centered and taps you in. What I've been doing, I've been walking most mornings, and I've been listening to this certification program I'm taking to become a QHHT practitioner, taught by Dolores Cannon, actually. I know she's deceased right now, but I'm doing that. And it feels appropriate. It feels like a time to really feed my inner magician, improve my skill set, because I can sense where this is heading. Once it's resolved, there's going to be a need for Victor to be at his A game. And you might feel that same calling within yourself. Not only might you have this interest in spirituality, but you might find there's a reason this is all happening, and I know it has to do with me leveling myself up. So it really is the time to do that, my friends. Number 4, a lot of us are in a major transition right now. I've talked to several people saying, Vic, I don't know if my job's gonna be there when this all resolves. And presently, there's nothing I can do about it anyway. I'm kind of just stuck here to sit in maybe the most intense uncertainty I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I've been here before, and I know how wild it is, okay? This feeling like, you know what, my job's up in the air, my relationships seem like there's conflicts, I'm going through my own process, I'm stuck, I can't do anything about it. It can be very, very maddening, these transitions. But the reason they happen in this nature, believe it or not, is because you can handle a very fast pace of life improvement. Our mind says, well, if I want to have a good job, I got to go through high school, I got to go to college, probably get a graduate degree, I got to apprentice somewhere for a long time, and then after building up my resume, I finally get a decent job and pay off my debt, and then 50 freaking years from now, it's going to work out. That's one route, and that's not wrong. It's not unwise. But your spirit's like, listen, I'm here now. That's how most people play that game, and I'm not saying that game's wrong. But the fact is, you have this idea of what you want as a career, and guess what? We can make it happen in 9.5 months. But you gotta let go of everything. We're gonna have to create these circumstances in your life to trigger particular energies that have been repressed and holding down your vibration from being able to experience that reality. And yes, that the transition can be maddening. It can be very uncomfortable. You don't know what the heck's gonna happen, but all of a sudden it's like the storm subsides and you find that you're looking at your entire life and yourself with brand new vision, new ideas, new opportunities, new, to start spilling into your life just as quickly as the old life crumbled, okay? And who wants to go through that? Apparently some of us do, because we can, because we know there's a new energy now and it can lift us up very high, very, very quickly. And number 5, I wrote down, diamonds in the rough. You are. The other day I was doing a coaching session. My boy Jerome, he was talking about his life, kind of in a circumstance as I described earlier, in a major transition. One job might not be there. At the same time, he's been working on something kind of on the sidelines, his writing gig. He wants to be a writer and an internet marketer, and he's got some momentum going. Maybe not as much as his mind would prefer him to have to feel safe all the time, but his spirit knows it's enough. It's enough. And therefore, what he no longer needs, what no longer serves, is starting to kind of peel away from his life. And the mind says, well, this thing's not ready yet. I still kind of need this thing. And it's like, there's that transition I was discussing. But anyway, my boy was talking about this on the coaching session. And another client, Karen, she chimed in and said, you know what, guys? Hey, a sweet woman. She said, I felt guided to say something. I had this insight. She said, I'm like, what, Karen? What is it? She says, as you were talking, Jerome, I imagined you as a diamond. And she's like, you know, diamonds, they require being buried in these rocks and having all this pressure. And it requires the pressure to kind of push out the diamond into existence that eventually is just gleaming with light. And that's what's happening with a lot of us right now. We're feeling the pressure. But it's not a pointless pressure. It's not an accident or a mistake or an error back in life. It's a certain type of pressure that forms freaking diamonds, that uncovers your spirit, your essence, your truth. That's what's happening right now. More so, these transitional periods, again, they're not fun. I've been through many of them. They have a way of shaping your character in a way that's absolutely priceless long term. When you go through them and get to the other side, which we all are doing right now, you develop a tremendous amount of courage, real, bona fide, authentic, no bullshit faith, where you literally, you have faith. It's one thing to pray to God when you're in trouble. It's another thing to hope things work out. It's another thing to know that I can trust my life, I can trust my intuition, I can trust my inner knowing, and I know, because I've seen it happen through those crazy ass transitions, that it always works out in my highest good. Faith, courage, wisdom, experience. You're all gaining rapidly. And I know a lot of you want to be healers, coaches, mentors, speakers, writers, authors, same thing. Well, guess what? The ones who impact people are the ones who have been through some stuff, who have been through the diamond forming process, okay? And in the end, you're a diamond, and you're sharing a quality and a magnitude of light that's healing and uplifting and infectious and extremely, extremely transformative for other people. That's why these things are happening to you, because you're here to shine.